I'm going to show you how to achieve good solder joint. I use my old soldering iron with a worn tip. We don't need any fancy equipment. We need solder. I'm using a lead-free solder. It contains flux and it melts at 270 degrees Celsius. I use a brass sponge to keep the tip clean. It is also good to have some solder wick, and it is almost mandatory to have some flux. The solder melts at 217 degrees Celsius, and you can see that the tip of the iron is well above it. I demonstrate the soldering on this Arduino Nano because I see it on the internet that many people struggle with this type of soldering. So first let's clean the now hot tip, and then let's put a tiny blob of solder on the tip. It is important that this is not used for soldering. This helps the heat transfer from the tip to the pin. I heat up the pin by touching the iron and the blob to it. I don't even need to melt the solder by touching the iron with it. The preheated pin melts it. Also, after the fresh solder melted, keep the iron there for 2-3 seconds and let it work. A typical mistake is that people put a lot of solder on their iron and then they try to solder with that blob directly. This blob is oxidized and all the flux evaporated, so it won't stick to the pin properly even when it is hot. But this still can be saved. Add the dab of flux to the botched solder joint and reheat the area with a clean tip. If you are not satisfied, you can use the wick to remove the excess solder and solder it again.